Welcome back to Hames Hot Mic. This is a series where we look at local issues and talk to the people who have influence over how those issues get resolved. I've called it Hames Hot Mic as an homage to all the people who've been caught on a hot mic, but I hope that the people who appear here will feel so comfortable they feel like there aren't mics or cameras around. So look, when we come back, my guest is going to be another school board candidate, Adam Suleman. Look forward to seeing you after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Today, my guest is Adam Suleman, and Adam is seeking a seat on Chilliwack's School Board in the upcoming election. Adam, I'd like to welcome you here. I understand that you're completing some studies at Simon Fraser. You've been involved in business development, business courses there, as well as business yourself, and you're also a mental health advocate. Welcome to the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you. I guess my background is that I was born and raised in Chilliwack. I completed my K-12 education in the Chilliwack School District. I was involved in a lot of community service and volunteering while I was a student. I was also involved in a lot of student activism during that time, particularly for fundraising for developing countries and for mental health. My work as a mental health advocate started in 2013. I became passionate about this issue because I noticed that it was an issue that students were facing beginning in, I think, middle school. And I think what we're seeing today with the increased use of technology is that mental health is becoming a bigger issue. And so that's one reason that I started becoming involved in mental health advocacy. Today, I am a student at Simon Fraser University in my final term, focusing on my honors business administration degree at SFU. And I'm focusing in business, but I'm also focusing in education. So I've completed several courses with the Faculty of Education. This term, I am actually a speaker for a course called Social Issues in Education. And I think you cannot be an educator without knowing the social issues of our times. You can't be an effective educator without understanding these issues. So I took that course. I found it very interesting. And this term I became a speaker for that course. So it's something that I'm very passionate about, particularly through the mental health lens.
Thank you. It's no secret that our school board has had its challenges over the last couple of years. We've been in the news for a lot of reasons you don't really want to be in the news for. There seems to be a lack of cohesion on that board. What's inspired you to want to drop in the middle of that and be a force for change or good on that board?
I guess I had really good experiences as a student in the Chilliwack School District. I became upset when I saw the reasons our school district was making local and national headlines. I decided that hatred, bigotry, and discrimination should not be reasons why our school district should be making headlines. And I decided, as a visible minority that's been through the Chilliwack School District, that we needed to see some change on the school board. So that is one reason that I am getting involved. I also noticed that there are very different perspectives on the school board from very different political lenses. And as someone that has friends from both the liberal side and from the conservative side, I thought I would be a good person to help unite the board and restore objectivity and focusing on results with the Chilliwack School Board.
When you published a little bit of your platform online so that people could see some of the changes that you'd like to make. You talked about something called a pluralism-based education plan to support unity. Can you talk about what that means?
Sure. So pluralism is the idea that different people can coexist and can prosper together. And I think this is a philosophy that is very important. I do not want to focus on just bringing race as the only issue that I'm focusing on. I think there are different characteristics of people that make us unique and that make us important. And I think this idea of pluralism, the idea where we can succeed and work together and appreciate each other for our differences, is something that's very close to me. I know that as a student in the Chilliwack School District, I did not want to be seen just for my race. I wanted to be seen for the other characteristics and qualities that I had as a person. And I think I can kind of bring change to the school district by bringing a pluralism focused education plan that would include everyone. So this idea of inclusivity is very important to me, and I think this can be achieved in our school district through a pluralism philosophy.
So what experience have you had in governance? Because a school board member is isolated to governance, doesn't get to roll up their sleeves and go into classrooms and make differences that way. What experiences have you had in governance that lead you to this place where you want to be a policymaker rather than a policy implementer?
Yeah. I haven't had any experience in government, and I think that is something important. My work has been as a student activist. So my work has been working at the forefront of addressing these issues. But what I think is that as a student, I bring something valuable to the board, a student perspective. I know what students want. I graduated from Sarda Secondary in 2015. So I do not have experience in a government institution, but I think that is something important. I think I know what students want to see, and that is one reason that I am running in the first place.
You're not far away from being a student, so you can bring that perspective, certainly. You talk in your platform about something that is, in some respects, controversial, and that's revenue generation for extracurricular activities or for schools. You talk about the creation of perhaps a foundation where private investment can make its way into the school system. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So it is true, I do believe there is a place for private money in public education. I think what we see is that extracurricular programs are very expensive. They're becoming more and more expensive. And it is not something affordable to many families, particularly first generation Canadian families that do not have significant resources. So I want to set up a Chilliwack School District Foundation that can support students in financial need so that they can also access extracurricular activities in music, art, sports. And I think the goal of this program is to bring well-being to students and their families. I have read that extracurricular programs have a lot of impact on students, not only in terms of their academic performance, but their overall well-being. So my work as a mental health advocate was focused on well-being. And I think if we want to focus on well-being, we need to be open to money from private sources coming into the public education system. But I should mention that I do not want to see logos or advertisements in schools. That is not what I have in mind. I have some ideas in mind that would include memorials in honor of Chilliwack community members, in honor of local businesses. This would not be a foundation that would accept donations from large corporations. So I want to have rules in place the program would not be implemented overnight. It would be something that would take into account the perspectives from teachers, from students, from parents, and other community members. So I want to see a platform and I want to see a foundation that would assist students in our community so that they can also access these extracurricular programs that should be accessible to all that want to participate in it.
What sort of safeguards would you see being in place in a foundation like that so that private investment couldn't drive public policy within a school board? So as you can see with the current school board, there is quite a contrast between the board. Some of the board members currently sits kind of 3-3. What safeguards can you put in place so that private investment doesn't support one side over the other in some of these debates that have raged?
I think it will end up coming to the rules that will be in place for such a program. Like I said, I don't think this is something that would be implemented overnight. I know that there will have to be donation restrictions as to the amount of money that can be provided to the Chilliwack School District Foundation or something like that. And I think what we need to do is have the perspectives of different board members in the planning and development stages of such a program. And it is an area that I do not want to see funding that would support one side or the other. The funding would have to be coming from a good place and with the interest of genuinely helping students in the community.
So you talk about another aspect of your platform, which is high quality academic programs. And I don't think there's anybody that would disagree with that. But it would lead me to a place where I would say, well, there are people who are able to achieve significantly in an academic way in a school. But there are also people that that's more of a challenge for. Is there a danger? As I see, there might be a danger in saying our school is all about this high academic achievement, and that leaves some kids behind. How do you, I guess this was the knock against some of those exceptional programs where you moved kids into exceptional programs, and what happened is the resources are disproportionately going towards those programs for exceptional students as opposed to other students. How do you safeguard and make sure that everybody has access to the same kind of education?
I think what we first need to recognize is that different students have different desires and aspirations with their education. I do not think that one model fits all. And I know when I was referring to high quality academic programs, in particular, I had in mind the International Baccalaureate program, which was something offered by GW Graham when I was a student there. And it was offered at the middle school level. It was a program that I really enjoyed. I received the IB Citizenship Award during my time at GW Graham. And I thought it was a meaningful program because it allowed us to think of our education from a global perspective and the impacts of our education on helping others at the community level, the national level, and at the international level. That being said, I have been in communication with parents that want to see a gifted students program in the Chilliwack School District. One parent mentioned to me that they have to go all the way to Coquitlam to even provide their child access to a gifted students program. And I think that is unacceptable. I think as a district, we have a responsibility to satisfy and meet the needs of all students in the Chilliwack School District. And that is another area that I want to focus on in the planning of high quality academic programs in our Chilliwack School District.
Thanks, Adam. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back, and I'd like to explore some of that with you, the different styles of programs that are available, as well as talking with you about your platform about increasing math, science, and technology skills in students. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with Adam Suleman. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Adam Suleman, who's seeking a seat on Chilliwack School Board. We have a by-election in Chilliwack coming up as a result of Mr. Dan Coulter being elected to the provincial legislature. We wish Dan well, but we do miss his leadership on the board. And Adam is one of those people who's seeking to, in fact, take his place. So, Adam, we were talking about your concept of high academic programs, the notion that some of the programs you'd like to see increased in Chilliwack were for some of those real academic high achievers. I forget the term that they go with. And the question I had for you is, I think it's great that we do that, but what about people that are challenged by academic achievement? What about the kids with special needs? Should they get the same level of support in a school district as students that are high achievers?
Absolutely. So, as I was saying, I think the Chilliwack School Board has a responsibility to meet the needs and support families of students with all education desires and needs. And I think the idea with the high quality academic program was the fact that that need was not satisfied, at least from my experience as a student in the school district. I had wanted an IB program offered at the high school level, but it couldn't be offered. And I know other BC school districts do offer it in the public system. And that is one reason that I want my focus to be on implementing such a program here in Chilliwack. And when it comes to other students, including gifted students and students that want to pursue other programs such as French immersion, I believe we absolutely need to support them. And I think it is a responsibility of our Chilliwack School District to satisfy and even just provide the opportunities and the programs that are necessary for their enrichment and their learning.
So what would you say to someone who would criticize a gifted program by saying you're removing some of the best possible role models that exist for a classroom by pulling them out and putting them in a program with other gifted students?
Can you repeat that question again, sorry?
Sure. The premise of the question is, by taking gifted students and saying we're going to teach gifted students somewhere else, you're removing some incredible learning role models out of those classrooms and making it more challenging, leaving a more challenging environment for teachers, for other students. What would you say to that criticism for the kind of gifted programs?
I think the problem in Chilliwack is that such a program for gifted students is not even offered in the first place. The fact that that these families would have to take their children to Coquitlam, for example, is completely unacceptable. So the educators that we would need for such a program would be introduced into the Chilliwack School District under my leadership.
Okay. The current school board is, I would say, a whole lot of the challenge on being on a school board is that 90% of the resources you get are already spoken for before you even sit down at the table. There's very little discretionary spending in a school board. What would your priorities be for any discretionary spending that a school district might have?
I think the first priority that I have is COVID-19 safety and COVID-19 safety measures, especially during this time. It is the reason why it's the first item on my agenda. And I think the level of safety protocols in our schools is completely unacceptable. The role of the BC Ministry of Education during this time should be to protect students and teachers and other staff in our schools. So with the funding that we do have access to, right now, my main objective would be to increase COVID-19 safety measures in all schools in the Chilliwack School District.
So last question we have time for. You talk about support for math, science, and technology in your platform. School district is embarking right now on a very innovative new school called Imagine High, which is an integrated arts and technology program. Do you feel that fits with what you're suggesting in terms of increased support for math, science, and technology, or is that at odds with your philosophy about how education should be provided?
I don't think it's at odds with what my aim with that agenda item would be. I think math, science, and technology are very important, especially with the changes that we are seeing in society. Art and technology are also important. That is something that I also believe. But with my intention, I would like to see a focus also on math and science. I think what the pandemic has proven is the importance of science education. And with the scores that we've seen with math performance in our Chilliwack School District, I think that is a sign that we need to invest more as a school board in math education as well. So from the technology forefront, I think Imagine High is a great institution that can facilitate the technology education that I have in mind. But when it comes to math and science, I think we can use our current infrastructure to improve the math and science education that is currently going on. So I would like to see more hands-on learning experiences outside of just reading a textbook and outside of assignments.
Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate you taking the time to come and speak with me today. I hope it's been able to provide people who don't know Adam Suleman that well what he thinks about and why he's choosing to put his name forward. I always have the greatest admiration for anyone who says, hey, I'm going to stand up, put my name on a ballot and let people make a choice. So I wish you the best of luck as you move forward with this. And we're going to be having a debate with all the candidates coming up in the near future. We look forward to seeing you again then, and thank you so much again for taking part in my little indulgence I call Hames Hot Mic.
Thank you, Clint.
That's all the time we have today. I hope you'll continue to tune in to Hames Hot Mic. If you've got an idea of a guest that we should interview or questions we should ask that person, don't forget, send those along to news@chilltv.ca. We'll see you next time.